Hi, folks. Welcome back to Source by Cofactr, where we cut through the noise and get to the good parts. I'm Ed Dodd. Glad to have you joining us. Today, we're opening up something that, well, often feels like just paperwork, doesn't it? The Bill of Materials, the BOM. Sounds pretty dry, but for a certain kind of manufacturer operating in a really tough space, the BOM isn't just admin. It's the key. It can mean the difference between making money and total chaos. So, if you're into HMLV, today is your day. That's high mix, low volume manufacturing. The real tension, the thing we want to unpack, is how a company needs to stop seeing the BOM as just, a static shopping list from engineering. Like, here's the parts, go buy them, and start treating it like a strategic living data model, something absolutely essential for operations to work efficiently. So, that's our mission. We want to show you how getting that data foundation right, how it leads to fewer fragmented buys, real cost savings from bundling orders, and just, well, less time wasted putting out fires. It makes a huge difference. So, maybe let's define this HMLV environment first, because it's really two big challenges kind of piled on top of each other. Let's start with the LV part, low volume. When we say low volume, we're not talking millions of widgets off a massive production line. We mean maybe hundreds, perhaps a few thousand units of a product over a whole year. It's very specialized, often bespoke. Think about industries like aerospace and defense, really specialized electronics or complex medical devices where you have these small, heavily regulated batches. Or even custom industrial machines, right? Built maybe just for one specific factory floor. Precisely. And the supply chain pain points, they hit you immediately in LV because you don't have scale, no leverage with suppliers. None. You're the small customer, so you often face higher unit costs and you're probably at the back of the queue for lead times. And another issue, minimum order quantities can be a nightmare in LV. It's probably the single biggest killer. Let's say you need maybe 500 specialized capacitors for your whole year's production run, but the supplier only sells them on reels of 10,000. Yeah, so now you're forced to buy 10,000, meaning you're holding 9,500 units of excess stock just sitting there, tying up cash, taking up warehouse space, maybe even expiring just because of how they package it. Which brings me to forecasting. It's brutal. Demand isn't steady. It's often project-based, unpredictable. You just don't have those economies of scale to cushion the blow of expensive small buys. Okay, so that's the low volume headache. What about the HM, high mix? So now layer high mix on top of that low volume. HM means variety, sheer variety. You're juggling dozens, sometimes hundreds of unique product configurations at the same time. And I bet many of those SKUs look almost the same, but have tiny critical differences. That's the trap. They look identical maybe, but one needs a different power connector for, say, the European market. Another needs a specific memory chip for a military version, or maybe a different fan because it's used at high altitude. So the admin load just explodes. It happens all the time. This is where companies get bogged down. Every single SKU needs its own precise BOM. You're managing this mountain of documentation. And engineering change orders, ECOs, they must ripple through everything constantly. And ECO doesn't just hit one product, it might affect 50 different BOMs simultaneously. It's a moving target. And that leads to fragmentation risk. If you're not incredibly organized, you end up buying basically the same component, like the exact same resistor, under 20 different internal part numbers. Why? Because it showed up on 20 different BOMs, maybe designed by different engineers at different times, and nobody connected the dots. So you lose any buying power you might have had instantly. And one crucial thing to remember, low volume doesn't mean low value. These HMLV products are often complex, high margin, mission critical things. But if you fail to manage that complexity efficiently, well, you just erode that margin and frustrate customers. Which brings us neatly to why the old way of just handing a buyer a BOM and saying, go buy this, why that just completely falls apart in HMLV. So in a simpler world, Maybe you have three bombs. A buyer can look at that and see the total need for, say, capacitor X and place one big order leverage. But in HMLV, you might have 100 bombs. Each needs only a tiny volume. But the overlaps where the same part is used across many bombs, those are totally hidden if you're just looking bomb by bomb. So the buyer is stuck reviewing things line by line, spreadsheet by spreadsheet, trying to manually spot that, I don't know, that same 10K resistor that's called slightly different things on 50 different documents. It's an impossible task for a human to do consistently and quickly. It's just too much data, too fragmented. And that leads directly to fragmented purchases. Instead of one smart consolidated order for 5,000 components, you end up placing 50 separate orders for 100 components each, probably from different suppliers, losing all your negotiating power. And then comes the expediting and the firefighting, all because nobody saw the total demand adding up. Shortages aren't flagged proactively, they only get discovered when the production line's about to stop. Panic stations, emergency order needed, which means costs just spiral out of control. You're paying premium prices for those tiny urgent orders. Then you're paying insane freight costs. Next day air becomes the norm, not the exception. And I bet under pressure, buyers make rushed substitutions. Just grab something that might work. Hope you'll get a waiver signed. Yeah, it shouldn't, but that happens. One-off substitutions just to fill the immediate gap, which then creates all sorts of potential quality or compliance headaches down the line. Okay, so it's clear humans plus spreadsheets just don't scale for this level of complexity. The answer has to be systems, right? Procurement systems. Simply put, systems are essential. They are not optional in HMLV. But let me push back a bit. For maybe a smaller HMLV company, say doing less than $25 million a year, does the answer have to be a giant multi-million dollar ERP system like SAP or Oracle? Isn't that sometimes overkill? That's a really fair concern. But it doesn't have to be the biggest, most complex ERP, but some kind of system is absolutely crucial. These procurement systems, they act like digital translators. They take those hundreds of BOM documents and almost instantly consolidate them. They show you the total need. They generate a handful of smart leverage buy signals. So whether it's a full ERP or maybe something more specialized source to pay solution like Cofactr, the core job is aggregation. Aggregation is key. But, and this is the huge but, the system is only ever as good as the data you feed it. Garbage in, garbage out. The BOMs themselves need to be structured correctly from the very beginning. If the data going in is messy, the system just automates the chaos. Okay, let's get into the weeds then. Let's talk about these 9 best practices we found. Let's frame them not just as a checklist, but like a manifesto for designing a BOM that all departments can actually use. I like that, a manifesto. We can start with the foundational data structure. These first 3 are about giving the system that consolidated view it needs. Practice number 1, use internal part numbers, IPNs. I know not everyone is going to like this statement, but it is basically non-negotiable. Why? Because the IPN is the master key, the single identifier for a functionally identical part, regardless of who makes it or what project it's for. If 3 different products need the same capacitor spec, they all point to the same IPN. That's how the system knows to aggregate the demand. And one IPN might link to several qualified manufacturer parts, but the system sees the total need through that single IPN, like a master key. And number 2 builds on that directly. Maintain an approved vendor list, an AVL. You need to formally link each IPN to a list of pre-vetted, approved manufacturers and suppliers. Why is that so vital in low volume? Flexibility and speed. In LV, availability is everything. If your primary vendor suddenly tells you there's a 40-week lead time, your buyer needs to be able to pivot instantly to an approved alternative from the AVL. They can't wait days for engineering to issue a formal ECO just to switch suppliers for an already approved part. The AVL empowers procurement to act quickly. Okay, does that make sense? IPN is the what, AVL is the who. Okay, number three, this is often where an internal battles happen. Normalize descriptions and attributes, meaning you have to enforce consistent naming conventions. You have to fight the tendency for different teams or different engineers to describe the exact same part in slightly different ways. Because if one team calls it capsar 10 microfarad and another team calls the identical part 10K nanofarad 0602 16 volt, they can look like two completely different things. You're now vulnerable to just accidentally creating duplicate demand, fragmenting your buys, and throwing away your volume leverage. Normalization forces everyone to use the same language, the same attributes for the same part. It ensures clean data. Okay, those first three, IPN, AVL, normalization, they give the system the basic visibility. What's next? Practices 4, 5, and 6 are about managing risk and traceability. They're about preventing problems before they happen. Number 4, flag critical parts early. So don't just list the part number, add more context. You need to tag or annotate parts directly in the BOM data structure if they have known risks, things like super long lead times, maybe an end of life or EOL warning from the vendor, or for specific compliance hurdles like ICAR restrictions. How does that help proactively? It turns the BOM into an active alert system. Your procurement system can scan for these flags instead of finding out 6 months too late that a critical chip is going obsolete. The system can trigger an alert the moment the EOL notice hits. Maybe it recommends a last time buy action immediately, potentially saving you a hugely expensive redesign or stopping the production line. Very smart. Okay, number 5 seems super detailed. Track reference designators and board locations like R15, U3, J7. Why does procurement need that level of detail? Well, procurement probably doesn't, but other functions do. It's about the total life cycle cost, especially quality and support. Remember, HMLV products often have long lives, maybe 5 or 10 years in the field. So when a product comes back for repair, or if there's a failure analysis needed, knowing exactly which component was supposed to be in location U3 on that specific revision of the board is critical for traceability and ensuring the repair technician uses the right part. It helps isolate faults and ensures correct rework. It also helps identify common subassemblies across different products. Okay, does that make sense? It connects the BOM to the physical reality over time. What about number 6? Aligning revisions and ECO control. Oh, this is a constant source of pain in high mix shops. You often have multiple versions of the same product out there simultaneously. And HMLV, you need a strong, enforced ECOs, revision control, and especially ECO effectivity. So maybe version 1.0 is still in the field. Version 2.0 is in production now, and version 3.0 is approved and ready to be cut in. If a component system doesn't have a crystal clear revision number and an effectivity date tied very specifically to each work order being built, procurement could easily order the wrong parts for version 3.0 when they need version 2.0, or maybe even obsolete version 1.0 parts. Happens all the time. It leads to stranded inventory, unusable parts, or even line down situations because the wrong components arrive. The BOM must be the single, unambiguous source of truth for the revision being built or serviced right now. Okay, crystal clear revision control is essential for HMLV. So last 3, practices 7, 8, 9, these are focused on efficiency and compliance. Number 7 gets back to that physical reality, the stuff spreadsheets often ignore. Enable MOQ and packaging visibility. Yep, tackling the minimum order quantity monster again. Your system needs to know the supplier's constraints. Does this part come on a reel of 5,000 in trays of 100 as cut tape? That detail needs to be in the part master data linked to the IPN. So if the planning system calculates, say, a demand for 600 pieces, but the part master clearly states the MOQ is a reel of 2,500, the system has to flag that mismatch before the purchase order is generated. Yes, it forces a smarter decision. Maybe you round up to the MOQ, maybe you challenge the need, maybe you look for an alternate. But ignoring supplier packaging is a guaranteed way to end up with either shortages or massive excess inventory. Makes total sense, right? Number 8 is more philosophical. Standardize where you can. It requires conscious effort, yes, but it's about actively looking for opportunities, even in a high mix world, to reuse common components across different products. So even if you only need 500 of connector A for product X and 700 of connector B for product Y, if they could both use a standard connector C, aggregate that demand, even if the individual volumes are low, combining the need for common stuff like connectors, resistors, capacitors, it multiplies your buying power. It simplifies inventory and reduces the sheer number of unique parts you have to manage. Standardization is still powerful even in low volumes. Fight complexity where you can. Okay, last one. Number 9, compliance. Integrate compliance and traceability fields. This is crucial for regulated industries. You need to embed data like ROHS status, REACH compliance, ITAR restrictions, conflict minerals declarations, country of origin embedded directly into the BOM data structure linked to the IPN, not just on some separate spreadsheet or in a dusty folder somewhere. No, it has to be part of the core data. Why? Because for industries facing strict audits, think medical, aerospace, defense, you need that information readily available and controlled, so procurement can source confidently knowing the parts meet the requirements. It avoids delays, failed audits, and ensures you're meeting legal and customer obligations right from the first PO. Wow! Okay, that's a lot, but it paints a really clear picture. This has been a necessarily technical but really strategic look at the bomb. So, pulling it all together, the big takeaway seems to be that in this HMLV world, the bomb just can't be an engineering afterthought anymore. Absolutely not. It has to be treated as a core strategic asset, a structured, procurement aware data foundation that really drives the whole supply chain. And the fundamental lesson is simple, really. You cannot run a modern HMLV business by buying from individual BOMs. That way lies madness, or at least inefficiency and fragmentation. Efficiency comes from systems that aggregate demand. And those systems are only effective if they're fed by BOMs designed with these kinds of principles in mind. Data structure first. It's about building a real competitive edge by actually mastering your own internal complexity. So maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on. If we accept that standardization multiplies buying power even in low volumes, think about your own products or maybe products you know. Can you identify maybe 3 near identical components? Perhaps 3 slightly different connector brands, or 3 subtly different types of switches, or maybe consolidate 20% tolerance capacitors to the more common 10% tolerance. If you applied rigorous data normalization, used IPN properly, could you turn that hidden similarity, that complexity, into a real source of savings and efficiency? Could that become a competitive advantage instead of just a headache? That's the challenge. The battle for HMLV efficiency, it really starts way upstream with how you structure that BOM data, not when the PO gets cut. An excellent point to end on. Thank you all for joining me on Sourced by Cofactr. I'm Ed Dodd. I hope we cut through some noise and helped you get to the good parts. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe and follow Cofactr for more hardware insights. Leave your questions in the comments and sign up for our newsletter at cofactr.com.